Hello all, myself Murshida Yasmin, Assistant Professor from SNS College of Physiotherapy. In this video, I'm going to talk about a basic anatomical topic called tissues and its classification. Let's get into the topic. To define about this, tissue is a group of similar cells having a common origin. As we all know, the organizational structure basically starts from the cell. So the group of cells together form a tissue. So cells in the tissue work together to perform a specific function. So tissues forms the basic structural unit of the organs. So the study of tissue is called as histology. So the basic organizational structure starts from cell. The group of cells together forms the tissues, and the group of tissues forms the organs. So the clinical relevance of the tissue to the physiotherapist. So the tissue damage will cause the organ dysfunction, so thereby reducing the healing time and the limitation of the movements happen. So in case of the muscle injury or the connective tissue stiffness or any nerve injury, that will give you a movement restriction or organ dysfunction. So there is a physiotherapist role to clearly know about what are the tissues present in our body and how it functions, how it is identically different. To empathize about this topic, damage to tissue affects the movement as well as it reduces the healing time and it reduces the organ function. So physiotherapist deals with a muscle injury, connective tissue stiffness, nerve damage, or majorly many type of tissue damage occurs, so that the physiotherapists need to deal with those things. Understanding tissue types helps in treatment planning, rehabilitation strategy, and also the prevention of the injury. So the muscle tissue and the nervous tissue or the major tissues we will be dealing with. So in the upcoming slides, we'll get to know what are those. To ideate, different tissues perform specialized function. Classification helps to understand the structure and function and the relationship with it. To identify the pathological changes happens in the tissue, which is essential to understand the anatomy, physiology, and also in clinical practice, basis for understanding healing and repair. So structure, function relationship. So protection of the tissue and how the movement happens in the tissue and how the tissue supports the organs. Classification. Four basic types of tissues are there. Epithelial tissue, here it is, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. So epithelial tissue is meant for the protection, secretion, and absorption. Connective tissue is meant for supporting, which connects the one from other and protects, insulates, transports. So these are the function of connective tissue. Muscular tissue, which produces the movement. Nervous tissue, which conducts the impulses. Likewise, each type of tissue has a distinct structure and a distinct function. Epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue covers the body surface and lines the cavities. So there are squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, and columnar epithelium. Squamous epithelium functions as diffusion and the filtration. Where it is located? So it's located in the air sacs of the lungs and the lining of the heart. Cuboidal epithelium, the function of the cuboidal epithelium is a secretion and absorption. So the cuboidal epithelium is located in the kidney tubules and some glands. Columnar epithelium, it is present in the lining of the digestive tract. Its function is to secrete and to absorb. So these are the types of the epithelial tissues. Epithelial tissue, its primary function is to protect the body, absorb the nutrients, and secrete substance like hormones and enzymes. So as we saw in the earlier slide, so its function is to secrete. So the secretion is mainly the hormones and enzymes. Structure, closely packed cells forming continuous sheet. So it covers all the external body surfaces, lines the cavity, organs, and forms the glands. Key subtypes classified by cell layers, simple or stratified And the shapes are squamous, cuboidal, and columnar type. Connective tissue, it supports and connects the body structures. So loose connective tissue, dense connective tissue, cartilage, and the bones. So these are the connective tissue types. Loose connective tissue, as you can see, the connection between each of the fiber in the tissues are loosely packed. And the dense connective tissue, you can see the difference between these two, it is densely packed. And cartilages, this is how it will be. The bone, there will be a trabecular system in the bone. Connective tissue's function is to support, bind, and protect the other tissue and organ. It also transports nutrients and stores fat. Structure, cells scattered throughout a non-living extracellular matrix of the fibers and ground substances. Key subtypes are bone, cartilage, blood, fat, which is a adipose fat, and loose and dense fibrous tissues. So here there will be the connective tissues present. Without connective tissue, there won't be any of the movement happens. There won't be any function happens. The connective tissue is the most important tissue in our human body. Muscle tissue function is to contract and relax to produce a movement, both voluntary and involuntary movements. It happens with the help of muscular tissue. Structure, highly cellular tissue is a muscular tissue and well supplied with the blood vessels, packed with the specialized protein, and that enable the contraction. So the specialized protein in the muscle tissue are actin and myosin, which is a contractile tissue which helps in sliding and gliding of the muscular tissue. So key subtypes of the muscular tissue are skeletal tissue, cardiac tissue, smooth muscle tissue. So let's see what are those in detail. Let me show you with a picture. Yeah. Here, the muscular tissue, skeletal muscle tissue, which is attached to bones, smooth muscle tissue, which are not attached to bones, which are present only in the organs, and the cardiac muscle tissue, which is completely related to heart. The cardiac muscles are specially made up of cardiac muscle tissue. So this is how the structure it will be. So skeletal muscle tissue are voluntary in nature and attached to the bones for the movement, and the cardiac tissues are involuntary in nature, found only in the heart. The cardiac muscle tissue cannot be found anywhere in the heart, only it will be present in the heart. Smooth muscle tissue, involuntary, lines the hollow organs like blood vessels, stomach, and intestines. All these are hollow organs. There will be something present inside it. So those are the hollow organs. So smooth muscle tissue lines those things. So that's all about the muscular tissue. Nervous tissue. So function of the nervous tissue is to generate and transmit the electrical impulses to coordinate the body activities and communicate with the brain. So as we all know, the brain is the major center which controls our entire human body. And the brain, the spinal cord, and all the nerves in our body is completely made up of the nervous tissue, which is distinct from other type of the tissue. Structure, which is composed primarily of two cell types, neurons, the main signaling cell, and the neuroglia, which is a supporting and protecting cells. The location of the nervous tissues are, as I said, brain, spinal cord, and all the peripheral nerves in our human body is completely made up of nervous tissue. So to summarize about what we were discussing about in this video, there are different types of tissue present in our body, each having different structure and different function, which differ one from another. So the types of tissue, epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, nervous tissue. These are the four broad classification of the tissue types. So in which there are many subtypes, which we have talked about simply in a basic form. So there are a lot of the things to study about the tissues. So in this video, I just covered the basic things to understand about it, and during the examination, it will give you just a brush up about the tissue and its type. I hope you find this video is very helpful during your examination time. I'll catch you in some other video. Thank you.